you just got to live for it, man. I don't really know how to explain it apart from like every day you got to be hungry for it, and it will drive you a bit mad at times, but it's not got to feel good. It's just got to feel worth it in the end. And I tell you what, when people are coming back to me and saying, I had to listen to that and it's really deep or whatever, I had to listen to that, it's really romantic. But when people are giving you feedback like that, that's just like, that's rewarding up in itself for me, really. Just want to get as many people on board.
Amos Madra.
Dominic Nesmejanow, lead singer for the band, The Narcissists. A warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to this interview. Glad to have you here today. So,
thanks for having me.
Narcissists, tell us about that. Tell us about your band.
Oh, it's brand new. And we're pushing boundaries, really. We did have a bit of we were together before lockdown, but with lockdown and everything, that set us back. But we've just been honing our craft, really, making sure that it lands on the right places and the right people are going to be listening to it and thinking, yeah, that's the one. We've just had a new album that's dropped on the 30th of October this year, so it's fresh out and it's on all major distribution platforms now. Getting noticed by some of the right cats already, but I just really want to push it further, and that's 12 tracks on everything. Opening move, it's called by Narcissists, and we've got a brand new single coming out on the 5th of December, which has been featured in new and upcoming indie called 1,000 Cuts, and that's going to be landing on everything 5th of December. But there's a sneak preview of that right now online. If you look hard enough for it, I'm not going to tell you where to find it, but yeah, it's been a mad growth.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying we're very lucky to get you to scoop you up. It's been a busy time for you, hasn't it?
It has, actually, to be fair. I'm waiting to start a new job in January just to keep them bills coming in until we blow up. But got to have that confidence, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but until then, we've just been getting as many gig dates booked in as possible, really. I was actually hoping that I'd have a few more gigs to announce today, but all I've got really is Preston. That's the Station House, and that's January, and I've got a date in March as well. We're hoping for Night and Day Cafe in Manchester, the Castle Hotel, all the big ones, really. We're going to be going round. We're in touch with those people now. But I've got nothing to announce currently. It's still a bit hush-hush, really, with the dates and stuff. But that's to be announced. With the Narcissists, really, though, we've just had a new member that's come onto the scene called Xander, and he's from Wigan. He's an extremely talented lad. And I'm really, really excited to start composing with him. Hopefully have a new album coming out in 2023 with him, and we're just going to start like rocking gaffs out, really. It's just going to be great.
Absolutely. Now, the last couple of years has been a nightmare for a lot of us. COVID, pandemic, and you were about to start a tour, weren't you, just before COVID hit?
That's right, yeah.
Talk to us about that period.
Well, that period of time for us was just we were just kind of like we were fresh with this desire in our hearts, for get out there and play. I was gonna let the lion's share of the proceedings go to the establishments to support them, really, because live music's a bit of a dying thing, and I just really hope that it makes it through, into the 2030s and continuing onwards. It's a bit of a lost art. So definitely after COVID and that, get yourself back down to those gigs, and that's not just Narcissist gigs. Go and support everyone, because it's been a tough time for artists. I'm very privileged enough so that I can, continue to make this music. But lots of my favourite bands have announced that they've had to split up, because of the cost of living increasing and other political issues and stuff like that. But it's just a shame, really, because it's just many magical nights have been stolen from us, you know what I mean? Like, as not just as performers, but as enjoyers of music, you know what I mean, going forward. And cities like Manchester and that, they're going to be in my heart forever, because they're just clinging onto that music and they're just pushing it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, COVID's been tough, but I tell you what, it's what separates the men from the boys, really, so who survives.
No, that's absolutely, that's true, because as you said, that's where you separate the men from the boys, because yes, everybody can play, everybody can, turn up to gigs, but then when things start to get really difficult, now, you used your ingenuity, you started doing other things during the pandemic. You were busy filming, acting. You were doing all sorts of things.
I was really, really gutted actually because just before that pandemic hit, we were due to play a Night and Day Cafe in Manchester, and obviously that got pushed back. But I've been reaching out to them this week to try and get something rescheduled in there because we're really ready to. We've got the material, we've got the look, and we've been practicing. We're ready for this. We're getting a few cats and dogs playing us on radio at the moment, and it's just great, honestly, to see it. It's just. And when I get in them rooms and them crowds start singing them songs back to me, that's just going to make me go. That's going to make me cry. That is. I don't even know.
No, and I think we're very lucky as well to obviously have you here today, and we'll certainly be getting your record on as well here today. Talk to us about the music and again putting it together, the band, and how you guys just came together.
Well, to be fair, it started in a little town called Wigan. I don't live there now, but there's a lot of new bands emerging out of Wigan at the moment. A couple of my favourites being the Stanleys and the Facades, Flechettes as well. But with Wigan, there was a lot of people all getting into bands at the same time, and it was hard to work with people because they've all got different ideas in their head. So Narcissists, it started with just me. So I called it Narcissists when it was just me, really. But since then, we've been attracting new people on board, and we've got quite the team together now. We've got like marketing people, and we've got more people in the band. So it's not just me writing everything. But to see that growth in the organisation as well, not just with the fans, really, it's been massive because it takes its toll on you, like writing songs over and over. But for me, it's a massive outlet for me, really. But with the making of the music, with Opening Move, our most recent album, I've just been trying to push for like a bit of a different sound, really, to what's being signed at the moment. Don't get me wrong, there's a few like indie rock bangers on there, what you feel like you will have heard before. But there is quite a bit of an electronic influence in there, particularly the 1980s. And the story behind that really is I just discovered Daryl Hall and John Oates, me, at 24 years old, and I've been obsessed with them. and that's what it is. You listen to them records, and then all of a sudden a keyboard's slipping into your mix, and it's like, but it sounds good though. But it sounds good. Absolutely. So I'm in a bit of a position, me now, where I've got a lot of music. It's a little bit different. It's going to push some boundaries, like I said. Really, I know it's not for everyone, but it's one of those. I was in a composer mindset. I'm thinking to myself, like, do I release this and alienate people? Yeah, of course I will. Of course I'll do it because I want to bring something a bit different. I want to bring a memorable experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could go and play on stage at Glastonbury and play, something what's instantly forgettable and make millions or whatever. But I'd rather get up there and play to like 100,000 people who like what they like and they're not afraid to ask for it. You know what I mean?
A true artist, an absolutely true artist. When you were talking about, putting the album together, releasing, again, all the external factors, having a whole team, everybody working in together. How do you balance that? Because it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to orchestrate everything. How do you find that balance?
You're going to like this answer, really, but I'm not a very balanced individual, to be honest. I wake up and the first breath I take every day, I'm thinking, right, Narcissists, I've got to check on it. I've got to make sure all them tracks are still up there. And the other lads have been really, really helpful. Like I said, particularly Xander from Wigan, who we've just welcomed into the band. He's been really helpful to me as well for just managing that workload. But the short answer is I don't really balance it very well. It's just, you just got to live for it, man. I don't really know how to explain it apart from like every day you got to be hungry for it, and it will drive you a bit mad at times, but it's not got to feel good. It's just got to feel worth it in the end. And I tell you what, when people are coming back to me and saying, I had to listen to that and it's really deep or whatever, I had to listen to that, it's really romantic. Or when people are giving you feedback like that, that's just like, that's reward enough in itself for me, really. Just want to get as many people on board.
I think we've just got the hook for our trailer for this interview.
Right on, man.
That was it. Absolutely brilliant stuff. It's that obsession, isn't it? You've got to be obsessed with it.
You have.
Where does that come from?
Gallagher said.
Sorry,
well, to me, I grew up listening to Oasis records, And before I listening to some of the Strokes as well, and all these old school bands. And when you listen to their debut records, they've got some very good songs. But it's like, this is nothing remarkable. These are just some lads from like a council estate in Manchester. Do you know what I
Around
mean?
the corner
And
from me.
that's that's what I'm saying. So them lads for me go from that background to, you know what I mean, going on Nebworth and doing the kind of shows that they were doing. It was just a massive source of inspiration to me. Now, my dad, he was going to put me in the army, because not really much was going on too much in terms of work for me, but he was going to stick me in army. But I showed him this record, what I've been working on, and he said, no, hold on. He was being all tough guy with me before then, but he said, no, hold on, you're not going in army. That's a bit special, that is. So, yeah, it was a bit of a magical one, to be honest, because you got this tough guy coming in saying you're going in army, get Sergeant Gareth on phone now. And it's just like, nah, Dad, I'm going to be a musician. So it can be tough, but, if you keep trying, the first track on this new album is called Try Again. And the opening line is, they tried one time to hold me down. You just got to keep trying. You never know if you don't try. And that's the take home message for the entire album, really. I'm just trying to make it, you know what I mean? That's what the rest of the lads are doing as well. The rest of everyone who's making music these days is just trying to do. They're just trying to make it, and they're just trying to make them tunes what'll stick in people's hearts, for when we have them tragedies and people are singing them back. Like with Noel Gallagher, with what happened at the arena and that, and then everyone was singing "Don't Look Back in Anger" as a bit of a, you know what I mean? That nearly made me cry. That, mate, I want to get my lighter in there. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I think music brings us together, though. Music brings us together, and music can get us through some tough times. And to be honest, I'd love to just contribute to the amount of material what can make people's lives a bit easier. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And what I like as well with what you're doing, it's very organic. It's all you. You are the mastermind behind everything.
Well, thank you.
would you? Are you going through a publisher, or are you going through a label, or are you self-publishing all this?
Well, I might surprise you with this one, to be honest, but we're completely unrepresented at the moment. We've had to make our own label last year called Narcissists, and we've been publishing through just self-publishing, basically. Like I said, it's been going out of our own pocket to get all these tracks recorded, mastered, released, promoted afterwards, and stuff like that. So it is really a struggle to have all that on your shoulders. If a record deal comes along, we'll have a look at it. But one thing I am aware of at the moment is, these record companies and that they're giving you a bit of a naff deal. They want you to do 8 albums and they're not giving you a first slice of the pie. So in terms of the music, I'm not going to sacrifice quality just for get signed, if that makes any sense to you. Because, a lot of people, they get signed and the first album's rocking and it's pushed to all the right places. And then after that, you see like a dip in the band's enthusiasm because they feel like they're not creating for themselves anymore. They're creating to fulfill this, quota or, whatever the record company needs. But Narcissists, we're not going to be like that unless the money's really sweet.
and
the money's got to be sweet.
It has to be. and I've noticed that with a lot of bands where, they've had the option to go with a record label and they've just opted not to do that. They've opted to stick to being independent. They've got complete control. They direct where they want to go, what they want to do, and they've continued to grow. And I think it's getting harder now for record labels to break in, whereas they used to be the gatekeepers. But things have changed.
I know, that's right. 20 plus years ago, this dream, what I'm living now, it wouldn't be obtainable. So I have the generation that I'm growing up in and my privilege to thank for that. But 20 plus years ago, you learned one instrument and that was it, really. And then you wrote your songs, and then you've got to get a team together to help them push them out there. But we're living in an age now where you can do it all yourself. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it all yourself. I don't do it. You do it by yourself and work a full-time job at the same time. I don't know about that one, but it's doable. You know what I mean? I could get a home studio. I could get a home studio after saving up for a few months. You know what I mean? It is doable. And a lot of people have clocked onto that through lockdown. I think that's what's the one thing that's been positive through lockdown is there's been a lot more musicians on the rise, a lot more people picking up a guitar for the first time, plodding a few keys on a synthesizer. it's what we like to see, to be honest, because it was just a very much a ray of light in that very dark time, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we know that 5th of December, we've got the single coming out. Tell
That's
us
it,
about that.
1,000 cuts.
Yeah, okay.
Thousand cuts. You know, there's been times where I've spent hours and hours and hours working on a mix to get it just right and push it to the right, you know, target the right epidemic with it and everything. 1,000 cuts was not one of those cases, really. 1,000 cuts, I sat down to write it, and I had it finished within about 3 days, ready to send off to mixing and mastering engineers to get the final touch on it. 1,000 cuts, just come together like that because I poured it out from the heart. It's just one of those tracks, really, where it's got like a real energy, and it's been described as very 90s rock. And I think that people are going to really like the groove and the lyrics and stuff like that. They're not too complicated. They're very accessible lyrics. But then again, you know what I mean? They are quite poetic at the same time. It's a bit hard to delineate, to be honest, but you've got a short sentence of words with quite a lot of meaning in it, you know what I mean? It's all packed into like a rock song, like energized. 3 minutes, sweet spot.
90s rock, that's my stuff. Thank you.
No worries, man.
Absolutely brilliant. So we know as well 2023 is going to be a busy year, even just leading up towards the end of this year. You've got gigs coming up, and I know that you've mentioned a few, but and we're lucky to get you because I can imagine next year it is going to be jam-packed for you. How can the audience connect with you? How can they find out more about Narcissists?
Now's the right time, really, to get involved, because like you said, next year is going to be very, very busy, and I might not have time to get back to all these people. So now's the time, really. And if you get involved, just message the page on Instagram or Facebook. We've got loads of different platforms out there. It's still having a bit of a trouble to come up in search engine optimization, but we're working on that. Yeah, but if you find us on the pages and you give us a message or you put one of our songs on your story, we'll repost that all day long and we'll connect with you all day long. But do it now before we blow up in it, because when we blow up, it'll be a dream of yours, but not yours, but it'll be a dream of people's to get in touch. You know what I mean? But yeah,
absolutely,
it's going to be very busy next year. Very busy,
indeed. And what we'll do, Dominic, is we'll put all the links in the description so that the audience can connect.
Oh, thank you very much.
So
yeah,
before
it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say it's one of those things where it's going to be busy next year, but like because you've had us on before, then I'll come back and that, and we'll talk about where it's where it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. We need you back on. If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.